Hello, everybody. I'm Adrian Clarke, and welcome to the breakdown. Thanks for joining me. Look, after 20 Premier League games, Arsenal lie 6 points clear at the top of the table, courtesy of a workmanlike, but ultimately very, very satisfying 3-2 win at Bournemouth. Let's crack on and analyse this particular display, shall we? And let's start with some problems that the team had in a first half that was definitely imperfect. There were some good moments, particularly down the right-hand side. We'll get to that shortly, but we were stretched as a team quite a lot, actually. And why was that? Well, our game plan seemed to be we wanted to control the game, as we often do, inside Bournemouth territory. And if we lost the ball, we would go and press them high and hunt it down and win it back. And we did at times, but Bournemouth were ready for that, and during the first half they caused us a lot of problems. They actually racked up an XG of 1.22 in the first 45 minutes, which is an awful lot for Arsenal opponents this season. In the second half, that number dipped to 0.22. So let's take a look at a few things that happened in that first half that maybe we can fix moving forwards. Let's start with this example here, because it's a good one. Right, we've got the midfield three there that are going to squeeze up. You've got Odegaard high, you've got Rice squeezing up on his man, Zubimendi the same, and the Bournemouth centre half goes long, and he misses out that midfield. And this is what can happen if you don't get close enough on the press. And as we wind it on, Jurgen Timber wins the header, it gets knocked down. We didn't win the second ball, and Tavernier gets there, and look at all that space for Justin Kluivert, the number 10 for Bournemouth, who comes in off the right side into a massive, massive hole. And Kluivert burst forward from that position. No one really got tight enough to him, and he whacked a shot only just wide of the post. So it's a really dangerous moment. So what happened was, the midfield, if they all squeeze up together and we don't get tight enough, they go long and we lose the second ball. Well, our whole team is stretched out, isn't it? We're the opposite of compact. That creates, obviously, space for players like Justin Kluivert to go and hurt us. So that was the game plan from Andoni Iraola. Let's have a look at another clip from that first half now. And again, it comes from a moment where the centre half isn't put under enough pressure and they go long. And Timber on this occasion gets caught out by Brooks, who makes a good run in behind him. But look at the three midfielders again, completely bypassed. And then look at Kluivert circled. So the two centre halves have got Evan Nilsson, the striker. Look at Kluivert in that hole between the lines, completely free. And that was a problem. Nothing happened from that particular moment, but it was dangerous enough. And across that first half, really, we did have a lot of the ball, but we didn't get into the final third enough. They made almost as many passes as we did inside the final third. They spent longer inside the final third percentage-wise than we did in that first half. And just look at it, and we played a little bit too short. There weren't enough transition moments. Really, we funneled down the right, give it to Madueke, who did ever so well. But that aside, in that first period, that was the only major positive. Everything else was a little bit of a struggle. We did, though, change things towards the end of the first half. I don't know if it was a message from Arteta, whether the players picked up on it, or whether it was something that they talked at length about at half-time. But in the second half, we changed, and we let them have a lot more of the ball. And crucially, we got Rice and Zubimendi to just sit a little bit deeper. We didn't ask them to press anywhere near as much. We asked them to protect and screen that back four. Because if they're going to go long, we don't want a big gap between our defenders and our central midfielders, do we? We want it to be tight. And in the second half, you'll remember it, Zubimendi and Rice were on the toes of the Bournemouth forwards, and we kept up picking on those second balls and then playing from there, didn't we? I've got some stats to show you, actually, that will give you a really good indication of what happened to change. So first up, let's start with the first half stats. Here we go. A lot of passes from us, as you see. I've circled it at the top there in red. Loads and loads of passes, just shy of 300. Only 8% of our passes were long. And inside the final third, not too many passes at all. Flip it forward to the second half. Far fewer passes, around about 100 less passes. And look, we doubled. Our long pass percentage practically doubled to 15%, which is a big change. We played a little bit more on the transition. We only had 51% of the ball in the second half, But as you can see there, we did make more passes inside the final third. By playing this way, it gave us a platform to launch better attacks. So what did that change look like in terms of our midfielders? I want to show you here the defensive chalkboard of Rice and Zubamendi. So this is tackles 1, it's ball recoveries, and it's clearances. So let's show you a first half v second half comparison, just to show you, because I think it epitomises the change in style of Arsenal on the day. So here goes with the first half. As you can see, the pair of them won the ball inside the opposition half a fair bit, actually. Some good turnovers high up. But look at it in the middle of the park, in the middle third, that big hole. Didn't really win anything in that area of the pitch. The second half, if we change it now, it was outstanding protection. Bournemouth created precious little in that second half, 0.22 XG. And look how they dropped. And look how they just protected that area, either in the box or, more importantly, in and around the edge of the 18-yard box. So it was a big change for Rice and for Zubamendi. But that change definitely laid the platform for this victory. Because if we'd have carried on playing the same way, Bournemouth would have got more and more encouragement, and they'd have stretched us, at will. And they're quick, and they're a dangerous side, particularly on home turf. So it was important that we shored things up. Right, let's go through some of the goals. The first goal, wow. I mean, it was a big lapse in concentration, wasn't it, from Gabriel Magalhaes? A really unusual one by his standards. He's been epic, hasn't he? He's a brilliant player. We all love him. But it's on him, isn't it, that first goal? Let's show you the options that he had when he had on the ball, though. So here you go. He's got the ball, and the pass really that's on is to Timber. There's a big gaping gap, isn't there, between Evan-Nilsson and the rest. Everyone's been drawn towards the touchline on that far side. So we've emptied the opposite flank, and Timber and Saliba are both free. He could clip the ball over Evan-Nilsson to Saliba, but that comes with risk. Or he could drive it through that big hole to Julian Timber, and that's the pass that he should have made, really. So unfortunately, it didn't happen. For whatever reason, he plays a really sloppy pass inside, and Evan-Nilsson scores. Thankfully, he made up for it, didn't he? Just a few minutes later with a really good strike, putting his laces through the ball. And while we're on the goals conceded, let's look at the second goal, because while we're at it, I saw some big comparisons, actually, with the big chance that Brighton had at Emirates Stadium. You remember when David Raya made one of the saves of the season from Yankuba Minter? Well, this is really similar, and it revolves around Piero Hincapié at left back, and it's something that he definitely needs to work on moving forward. So let's take a look at what happened against Bournemouth first up. Here you go. So he's got the ball, and he plays it to the man behind him, and then, as you can see with the yellow arrow, he drifts into that pocket on the inside. This all came from a free kick. You can see the box is very crowded. As we roll it on, you'll see that they move the ball into the spare man, who's in a big hole, which is in itself is a bit of an issue there. Saliba's drawn out by Semenyo's run, and Hincapié, the left back, is torn, isn't he? Does he go tight with Krupi, or does he stay put? And there's indecision on his part, and he then decides to, I better get there, but of course it's too late, and Krupi hits a really nice shot. A dipping, powerful shot into the far corner. So it's not a massive mistake from Hincapié, but it is a slight error, because he could easily have followed him in man-to-man there, as he could have done against Brighton, when Minter did almost the identical thing. Let's remind ourselves of that. I didn't do a breakdown of that game, so it's the first time you'll have seen it from me. He can see almost identical situation. Hincapié's there. He's tight. He forces Minter to go a little bit back. And as we roll it on, he moved the ball inside. And what he's done, he's ghosted into a little pocket of space. And Hincapié is too slow to react. He dawdles. He doesn't really watch him initially. Then he suddenly realises what's happening, sprints to try and get there, doesn't get there. And as we know, Minter drew a fantastic save from David Raya. So look, Hincapié is a very good defender. I really like loads about his game, but that element where the right winger drifts infield is something that he needs to look out for moving forwards. Right, let's talk about some of the good stuff. As I said earlier, a lot of it came down the right-hand side, particularly, well, all through the game, actually, when Saka came on as well. But Madueke had a terrific first half. He ripped Adrian Clarke and Antoine Semenyo apart, really, didn't he? There was that brilliant run for Gabriel's equaliser, where he gets to the byline, takes it past Semenyo, gets to the byline, cuts it back, and then there's a melee, and Gabriel scores. And, of course, he should have scored a goal himself earlier than that, shouldn't he? Because he took on Truffert brilliantly, ducks inside, and we'll show you it here actually. Well, first of all, I want to show you this clip because this is when he gets the ball initially, and I want to praise Jurrien Timber because I was a former winger, and it's fine when fullbacks come and overlap you at times. It's a good tactic, but you don't want them to do it all the time. And I think Timber recognised that he could beat Truffert. Madueke, skillful, quick, he could beat him. So, look, he's just gone off and run. He's taken himself off into the box. And as we wind it on, he makes that mazy run. And at the key moment, I've got the red arrow there. It's just a simple pass, really, into the bottom corner. It's all he needs to do. The gap is there. The keeper wouldn't get there. It's just a simple pass into the corner. What he does, he puts his laces through it. And unfortunately, he blazed it over. But I did think there were far more positives than negatives about Noni Madueke's performance. And of course, Saka came on and did superbly down the right-hand side in the second half as well. Let's talk Declan Rice. What a double. What a hero he is. I mean, he had a rest against Aston Villa, which he'd have hated, no doubt about that. But he's come back into the side and he's been the difference maker, hasn't he? And what I loved most about his two goals was the discipline of his movement. He's aware of the space around him and he's aware of who's where and when he needs to move and when he needs to stand still. So let's show you the first goal that he scores. And I love the fact that it came from a direct piece of play. Timber lobs it forward, doesn't he, to Martinelli. He flicks it on for Cherries, who then is really strong, actually, as he gets goal side. And we'll freeze it here. Because I'm sure you've all seen this anyway. But look at the number of players that Cherries has attracted. Is that 5? I think that's 5 defenders there that he's attracted. And they sort of, I don't know whether it's his pass or whether they knock it to Odegaard. Doesn't really matter. He's done his job. But look at Rice. Rice could have made that forward run a little bit earlier, but he holds back in midfield, knowing there's space to attack in front of him. And of course, the weight of the pass from Martin Odegaard, it's absolutely perfect. And it allows him just to pass it one touch into the far corner. It's a really accomplished finish from Declan Rice, but it comes because he holds back his run. He doesn't get there too soon. If he gets there too soon, someone will mark him. So he waits and waits, and then he attacks it at the last moment. And I thought it's a terrific goal and a great finish. Let's look at his next one as well. It starts with a piece of trademark play really between Odegaard and Bukayo Saka, doesn't it? There he is. He makes that run beyond the fullback. He's slipped in field. I've circled Declan Rice. Look how high he is. He's actually already there on this occasion, and he's got Alex Scott there that's picking him up. But as the ball goes to the byline, Scott goes deeper. The keeper, I don't know what the keeper's doing. He comes out and commits himself. And Declan Rice stands still. He just takes a couple of steps forward, and that is it. He doesn't get over eager. And that is the genius of it. He's got his arms outstretched. Give it to me. I'm here. I'm all on my own. And Saka does the perfect cutback and he finishes with aplomb. So that was a lovely goal and a great celebration when he kisses the camera. And look, Rice's off the ball work was terrific once again. He was a real inspirational figure, wasn't he? Let's talk a couple of stats before we get to player ratings. You're used to me telling you that we run a lot, and we ran a lot here today in this game. Bournemouth are one of the fittest teams in the division. They tend to outrun most opponents, but not here. We ran 5.13 kilometres further than Bournemouth, which I think is a terrific effort. Our right wing was much more penetrative than our left. Neither of our left wingers, Martinelli or Trossard, got to the byline in the game. In terms of touches in the box, on the left, Trossard and Martinelli combined 3 touches in the box. Saka and Madueke combined 10 touches inside the box. So we definitely got a lot more joy down that side. And I liked our aggression as well. We made 25 tackles in this game, which is very high. I think Bournemouth made 16. We won our duels as well. 53.3% of our aerial duels and 57.5% of our ground duels we won on the day. And this is against a team that really prides itself on being hostile and picking up loose balls and winning those duels. Iraola's teams are very, very good at that. And we, even though this was not a great performance, it was absolutely imperfect. We didn't play great football, if truth be told, and we were stretched at times. So there's a lot that we could do better, but ultimately we found a way to win through the bits and pieces that I've explained here, through individual quality, collective spirit, resilience, and absolutely athleticism and determination out of possession. So yeah, some really good stuff. Right, let's end with some player ratings. We will talk a little bit about Liverpool, but let's end with some player ratings. David Raya, I'm going to give him a 6. He only had to make one save, and it was a really routine save. And I can't make my mind up whether he should have done better with the Krupi goal or not. I don't think he should. But look, he didn't have much to do. And so I'm just going to say it was an okay performance from Raya. So it's a 6 for him. Timber's a 7. He did have a shaky start. Brooks got wrong side of him a couple of times, and they got down the left a little bit early on. But he grew in stature, and I thought he stood up tall, particularly in the second half, and he did well. So 7 for Timber, 7 for Saliba. I thought he was good again, pretty immaculate. I'm going to give Gabriel Magalhaes a 6. It was a really bad error. I know he scored. I know he made amends, but it was a really, really bad error. So, yeah, not great from him for once. Hincapié a 6 as well. I've pointed out some of the flaws that he's got. He won his duels, but he didn't really get forward down the left to great effect either. So it wasn't his best, most effective outing. So just a 6 for him. Zubimendi, excellent, particularly second half. I'm going to give him a 7. He made 12 ball recoveries. That was a team high. He's always there. He won some tackles, picked things off. He did ever so well. And I think that combination with Rice is fabulous. Rice is my main man. Phenomenal second half. 2 goals, and he's everywhere, picking up the second balls. Just superb from Declan Rice. He has to be the best central midfielder in the country, hands down. He's the best player in the Premier League in his position, for sure. And look, if we do win the league, he's got a great shout for Footballer of the Year, hasn't he? Martin Odegaard is a 7. 2 superb pieces of play, bit of guile for both goals for Declan Rice. The pass in behind for Saka, the set for Rice, really, really good. But it probably would have been an 8. But I thought he took too many touches in the first half, slowed things down. And in that first half, he let Marcus Tavernier run off him twice. And he got in on the end of crosses twice. And we were lucky that he didn't score. He was marking him, and he just ran off Odegaard's shoulders. You've got to watch that moving forwards, particularly with Liverpool on the horizon. Madueke 7, brilliant start. Faded a bit, of course, and then came off relatively early for Saka, but he did excellently. Martinelli not at his best, 6. Gyökeres, I'm going to give him a 7 this week. He held it well. Link played nicely a couple of times. Played his part in that goal. No massive chances again, but I thought he did a good centre forwards job, actually. Yeah, I'm not going to be too critical of Victor Gyökeres here. As for the subs, Saka's a definite 7. Great assist. He created 3 chances after he came off the bench. Marino wasn't on for long, but I liked what he did. He didn't give the ball away. He was really calm. I think it was the right substitution at the right time. I'm going to give him a 7. Trossard 6. Didn't offer that much when he came on. And Jesus, I actually thought he had a tough time when he came on. His touch was a bit loose. Nothing really came off for him. I'll give Jesus a 5, but we'll let him off the hook because he wasn't on for long, and he's had some great games since coming back from injury. As for Mikel Arteta, it's a 7 from me. I think it was maybe the wrong game plan at the start, that allowed Bournemouth to bypass our press too easily. But he fixed it. And I think he's doing a lot of that this season. He's recognising Mikel Arteta when to change things. And that is massive, because I think it was the one part of his managerial sort of copybook that wasn't brilliant. The results are great. He's improved the team. He's developed. Standards have risen. Recruitment's fantastic. But I would have said, is he changing enough games from the bench in game? And up until this season, I'd say no. But that has altered. There's a number of occasions now. There's a body of work that says he's seeing games better and that he's making tactical adjustments. He did one here, and it absolutely helped us to win the game. So well done, Mikel Arteta. It's Thursday night. It's Liverpool at home. Cannot wait for the game. Should be a great atmosphere under the lights at Emirates. My worry, and I feel quite confident in this, is that Arne Slot will be really cautious. He was at Anfield. He set up very, very defensively, compact, didn't take any risks, didn't really press us. He tried to kill the game, and I'm a little bit worried he'll try and do that again. And I wouldn't blame him for trying to do that either. So we might have to find a way to create the energy, create the impetus, and it might be a grind. It might be one of those where it's a bit of a watchful game, and then we put our foot down. That said, an early goal and everything changes, and they've got to come out. And if that happens, there's a possibility we could give Liverpool a hiding, and because we're a better side than them this season. They're not in great shape. I'm worried. Ekatike's class. I like him. I like Wirtz. Soberslai's got that threat, of course, but as a team, they're miles behind us, and I'd love us to put on a Villa-like display against Liverpool, because if we do, I think we could win with something to spare, which would be absolutely brilliant. Right, that's it for this breakdown. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you very much for getting on board. Thanks for all the likes, the subscribing, for telling your friends, for all the messages. Honestly, it's amazing. I got back to quite a lot of you last time. I'll try and do the same around this one. I like to have that dialogue with you guys, and I really appreciate all the positive feedback. It gives me motivation to keep on doing more videos for you. So yeah, thanks for all the support on this channel. I'm absolutely loving it. I'll be back after the Liverpool game to break it all down. See you soon.